That is my printer, and hopefully we'll stop soon. Hey, Instagram. Let's see if I can get this set up here. There we go. Hope everyone had a good weekend. We are going to be doing some fun stuff here for road trip and riding in the car mobility, which is going to be awesome, especially because I don't know about you guys, but a lot of people are a little bit more focused on traveling via car right now. And just, there we go. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to start with here is focusing on the hips, because in the car we are usually seated, in this closed hip position. And if you're like me and always trying to get out of this habit, sometimes we kind of kick one leg out to the side. So if this foot was on the gas pedal, we will kick this leg out like this. So we're driving like this and kind of twisting our hips all day, or however long we're driving. So let's take either double balls or foam roller here, and we're going to start to work just a little bit on the glutes here. So you can go, let's actually go right in the middle. So the double balls are actually going to be kind of framing your tailbone here, and we're just going to roll up and down on your tailbone here. So you can actually go up against a wall if you need to. And we are honestly just getting blood flow into an area that if you were sitting in a car is going to not have a lot of blood flow, because you're just kind of smushing it for however long you were just in there. So loosening up an area that's just kind of been smashed for some time. So we're just kind of going back and forth. Do this on the foam roller as well. And then if you have the double balls, let's turn it vertically. And now you're going to go a little bit side to side. So if you have the foam roller, I would recommend just doing a little bit of this. So you keep the foam roller the same direction. So hopefully as you guys are sitting in your car, you're not this kind of high up. Oftentimes our car seat actually pulls us into this tucked position, but ideally we want to sit kind of right in front of our butt bones. But it's just a hard thing to do sitting in a car for a long time. So it's a nice thing to kind of work this area. And what I'm going to do is in the Facebook group share some of the stuff that you can actually do while you're driving, as long as you stay safe and pay attention to the road, but also some stuff that you can do on like pit stops, so at the gas station or something like that. So let's just roll a little bit on the butt cheeks. So you can go, let's go on the left side here. Just get some of this moving here. Another thing I really like to do, especially for glute stuff, is actually doing glute squeezes while you're sitting in a car, because again, the issue is lack of blood flow and muscle contraction in that area. So a lot of times if we just kind of stop and do 10 squeeze and relax things, it'll help relieve a lot of discomfort. I know my default, if I'm driving home to California, my like old right sciatica will kind of get triggered, and what'll get me through the last little bit of the drive is just doing sporadic glute squeezes. We don't want to hold the glutes the entire time, because that can create other issues, but just kind of, it's almost like you're walking or doing squats, because you're just doing little repetitions there. So go ahead and hold the balls on one spot, and let's do a little windshield wiper with the knee here. And if you've been driving and have that kind of gas pedal foot here and this leg kicked out to the side, you're gonna notice some different side to side. So kind of honor that, spend some more time on the tight areas. Let's go ahead and switch to the other butt cheek here. I find it easier to travel with double balls like this versus a foam roller, but they do have some of those, it's kind of like a little mini foam roller that fits nicely in suitcases. So whatever kind of tool you can find, you can use some of the glass water bottles, wine bottles, stuff like that. But I think it's best just to find a ball that you like to travel with that's easy. So we're just fluffing that other butt cheek here. And add a little bit of that leg movement back and forth. And I actually find, especially if I'm staying in a hotel or even sometimes an Airbnb, because I'm a little bit weird about carpet, if I don't feel comfortable getting on the floor, you can just lay a towel down or something, but going up against the wall is really good for this kind of stuff too. So, and you can roll your glutes up against the car. So there's always a way. Okay, so now we're gonna work a little bit on the front of the hips here. So this is the area that's getting tight and short as we're sitting. So again, same idea, getting blood flow in here so we can open up that area. So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna lay face down. I can also go up against a wall. And we're gonna be coming across right, if this is the pelvic bone here, I'm going right below. So I'm gonna lay face down here and just do some rolling here. What helps me in this position, you guys can't see, but I have my other knee out to the side. And that just helps me kind of support my body so that I can actually roll. So we're getting those hip flexors. Now, if I hold the balls in one spot, I can add that knee bend. I can even rock the foot a little side to side. I can do a couple glute squeezes. Okay, let's drop down just one more level here. And really you can hit any spot between your pelvis and above your knee because it's that quad muscle that has been placed in a shortened position for the duration of the drive for the most part. Add a little bit of that knee bend. So the quads are obviously, this front part's a hard part to roll while you're driving, but what I have been able to do is I usually have the alpha ball here and have it wedged between the side of my chair and my leg, and I can kind of work different spots in here. And then if you're the passenger, you can obviously do both sides. You can kind of play with it a little bit, but okay, let's switch to the other side here. So right below that hip bone, going vertically here, just rolling. So the biggest reason what I usually hear people say is that their lower back is pretty cranky after a road trip or long drive. So the mechanism or what creates that issue could be position. So it could just be improving your position in the car. Go ahead and bend that knee a little bit. but it's also the fact that our hips are in such a closed angle position. These muscles that we're working here, they are connected through fascia, connective tissue to our spine. And so when they get really tight, they start to actually compress our spine a little bit more than we want to. So that's why we you can roll your lower back, and we'll go over a little bit of that, but really opening up this hip area is gonna help decompress the spine as well. So let's go one more spot here. Bend and straighten. Okay, let's spend a little bit of time on our actual lower back before we do a little hip stretching. So what we're gonna do is find so you've got your spine here, and we've got these thicker muscles to each side. So we're gonna lay with foam roller or the double balls right across like this. So you're kind of right above the bony area. You should feel like you're on more soft tissue muscle. So I'm here. I'm gonna be a little bit more arched. So if that's uncomfortable, honor that and go to the wall. So foam roller is gonna keep me a little bit lifted higher. And all I'm doing here is windshield wipering my knees. This is usually a pretty hot spot for people because these tend to be the muscles that work overtime to hold us up. We will sometimes overarch them to try to maintain a good position. So ease into it a little slow. So you can stay here. If this feels good, go ahead and stay. I can also try to hug one knee in towards my chest. Just breathe into that. You can also do two, but this is already pretty intense for me, so I'm gonna stay here. And still add a little bit of that rock. I'm gonna go ahead and switch legs here. And what you'll feel when you do try to lift your legs is you'll almost feel a little extra, the muscles down here actually contract and they kind of kick the ball out for a second. So make sure you settle into that position. Do a little rock side to side. Okay, so let's go up a little bit higher. So body down, ball or foam roller up. And same thing, kind of settle into that spot. Now, one of my favorites is also taking the alpha ball, which is too far in my reach right now, but having the alpha ball up against my back in the car. That's a great way to kind of work these areas as you're driving. So going side to side. So instead of hugging my knee in, what I'm gonna do this time is I'm actually gonna cross one ankle on top of the knee and do some windshield wipering that way. So we're just exposing different tissues in the back where the balls are when we move our body in different positions. So these muscles, these lower back muscles are gonna they might be a little different if my foot was down versus up. So we want to test different positions since in life we are in different positions. Okay, I'm going to switch to the other side here. And let's just do one more spot. So here you're going to be getting closer to your rib cage. Just breathe into it. This is right where the thoracic spine meets the lumbar spine, so your mid back meets your lower back, and it's can get very stiff here. You can add some of that windshield wiper. I'm going to go back to that knee hug here. I'm going to switch to the other leg. Okay, let's go ahead and roll to the side to come off of whatever tool you are on. And what we're gonna do is we're actually gonna come into a hands and knees position. So you can, if you have kind of cranky knees, you can roll up a towel or a blanket, something like that. So I'm gonna have one foot forward here, and I'm just gonna be lunging forward. And you'll see I'm not dumping into my back. My butt cheek back here is nice and active. And I'm just getting a nice stretch in the front here. So keeping your glute squeezed here is gonna protect your spine from overarching, but it's also going to help the front muscle relax. So when we activate the opposite muscle on the opposite side, it helps this side relax a little bit more into the stretch. And once you're here, I would encourage you to kind of move side to side, get a little rolling creative here. Now, if you are really tight, you may be up here, and that is just fine, holding on to something, maybe the couch nearby or a chair. You might not be able to get down this far, and that is just fine. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna rotate towards the front knee, and I'm actually gonna drop this knee out to the side a little bit. So you can see my foot here, I'm keeping it nice and active. I'm almost just rolling onto the side of the foot versus twisting my ankle. And I'm just going to twist towards that knee. And then let's ease back up here. So then what we're gonna do is we're gonna work towards a straight-ish front leg. So I'm even just gonna keep my knee bent here. The most important thing is that your back stays nice and neutral, so not bending forward. We want the stretch to be focused on this front leg here. So I'm keeping my chest nice and high. You might need some things to hold you up if this is really intense. And I'm just rolling my foot back and forth here. And you should feel that all in the back side of the leg. And then let's go ahead and switch sides. So lunging forward, keeping that glute active, core active. You can move a little bit side to side. And then I can roll to the outside of that front foot a little bit. Maybe add a little twist. Make sure that glute is still active. And then come back to center, and we will work towards a straighter front leg, keeping that chest lifted. Once you feel settled and balanced, you can rotate your leg Side to side. Perfect. Okay, let's come on out of that. So that gives you some nice ideas for the lower body as you're sitting and driving. I'll post some stuff that you can do on your car as well in case you're at a gas station and need to kind of loosen up the body. But we're gonna look a little bit more in the front of your body too. So let's go ahead and grab double balls or the foam roller, and we need to open up the upper back as well because you've most likely been a little bit more forward in this position as you're driving, maybe even your head coming forward a little bit. So we're gonna work a little bit on the thoracic spine here. And this is another one that's nice to kind of check the box while you're driving. So let's just do a little bit of rolling here. So whether you have the foam roller or the double balls, and just do some rolling up and down. So you're kind of checking in with those muscles, maybe getting some adjustments in your spine. Go, and then go ahead and find a spot that just feels kind of stiff for you. And you're gonna hold, you're gonna relax your head down. And what we're gonna do here is we're gonna kind of start here and do almost like a fly into a goalpost shape here. So I have my arms like this. I'm breathing, and as I come down, I'm dropping my arms down lower. And what's nice about this is because we have our body up on an elevated surface, you're gonna feel a pretty darn good stretch in the front of your chest here. So breathing, you can come back up and then drop down. Let's do 2 more in this position. Okay, and then let's go to a different spot. So I'm gonna come up a little bit higher here because maybe my head's been a little bit forward as I've been driving. So I'm gonna bring my hands back up to this position and drop down. Go. We can even, once you're down here, you can kind of do a little bit of movement, get your shoulder blades, some gliding here. Keeping your elbows bent is gonna change that stretch. So for me, it really intensifies it if the elbows are bent. Kind of gets it a little bit more focused right on the shoulders. Okay, let's do one more spot. I'm gonna drop down a little bit lower, maybe. So I'm kind of bottom of the rib cage, or sorry, bottom of the shoulder blades here. Settling in. Getting those goalpost arms again. Good, and then let's play with a little bit of a different arm position here. So arms are out to the side, doesn't matter where the balls are on your spine. And we're just gonna rotate the hand down, and you're only gonna go as far as you can, keeping this shoulder back. So I'm not gonna let it pop forward. I'm just gonna keep it back and just rotate. So you can kind of think of this as lubricating your shoulder joints a little bit. We're moving them, there's a million different ways to stretch your chest, but we're moving them in ways that if you've been driving all day, you've most likely not done. Just want that variety in movement for a happy, happy body. Good, okay. So to wrap up this car driving road trip series, I like to end with some double balls at the base of your head here, or the foam roller. So you can just rest like that. So to hold the ball, sometimes you need a yoga block or a book, because they'll, depending on where your hair is, it'll kind of slide down. But you can also use just tucking your chin to hold the balls in place. So I'm hanging out here for a second. I can have my hands wherever it's cozy. And then all I'm gonna do is tuck my chin a little bit more, and then relax and tuck. And just creating some length, some decompression in that neck. If you're on a foam roller, you won't go down obviously quite as far. You don't need to strain anything. It's just a gentle tuck. And then I'm going to rock my head a little bit side to side. I think Aine's ready for bedtime too. And then go ahead and hold to the left and do a few little chin tucks here. And then to the right. Okay, and then we're gonna roll to the side to come on off of this. Don't wanna get up too quick because we just kind of relax those neck muscles, but those are some of my favorite things to do after driving in a car, road trip, something like that. So hope you guys enjoyed that. Save this. You can always go back to the Facebook group to check it out. And what I'm going to do in the Facebook group is I'll post some of my other favorite ways to stretch using your car at the gas station, and also some placements that you can take. I like the Alpha Ball is my favorite just to drive with because it doesn't get sucked up into the car seat. It's big enough. But I'll send over some stuff that you guys can use. So hopefully you guys are able to kind of get out and travel a little bit more, at least in the car, even if it's just local getting out. So as always, keep sending me any requests. Thanks for hanging out tonight, and I hope everyone has a fabulous week. See you later. See you Wednesday, 7 p.m. Mountain Standard.